You hungry? Hey, Ma! Can we get some meatloaf?
This has like a mom's basement kind of feel.
Mom! Mom! Mom!
Still some stuff in the basement.
What basement?
Mom's Basement with Joe Frank. That is quite possibly the dumbest thing I think you've ever said. And Corey Diab.
I can't believe I take part in this show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another episode of Mom's Basement here on YouTube and iTunes. As always, I'm your host, Joe. Back with me again this week. Took a week off to save lives. Corey Diab is back in studio.
And if you've never said my last name before.
I haven't?
No, you haven't. What the hell? Hi, guys. What's going on?
Corey Diab. D-I-A-B.
I just coughed into our mics, too. That's a problem.
So we're trying something new this week, you know. I got this nifty mic. I'm going to get another one. Don't think that I, hate Corey.
No,
Don't think he deserves
one.
He
fucking hates me. This is his old one.
We're testing this out, so if we like it, I like the sound quality, Corey will have one with him next week. Then, coming soon, green screen. So we will have a background to Mom's Basement once I figure out how to, 1, operate a green screen, 2, edit with a green screen. Only a couple hurdles left. No worries.
Just the biggest ones.
Yeah, just that's it. So some changes coming to the podcast scenery. Hope you guys enjoy it. As always, before we jump into anything this week, make sure you guys are checking out Crossover Report at crossoverreport.com and Crossover Report on all social medias. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course Snapchat. Twitter, though, is always popping.
Their Twitter's fucking bomb.
It's so funny. We say this every week, but it's legit hilarious stuff out of them. They're killing it on Twitter, over 11K followers, like I said last week. So make sure you guys check them out. Give them a follow. You want to sauce us a follow at Joe_Frank, F-R-A-N-C-01. Can't spell my own last name. Corey is at Corey L. Diablo.
Hell yeah.
D-I-A-B-L-O, Diablo. On Twitter, you want to sauce us a follow. That would be absolutely outstanding. And as always, if you're new here, hit that big red subscribe button right underneath the screen here. And if you're on iTunes, make sure you leave that 5-star review. Help us grow the podcast a little bit. All right, Corey.
I almost lost my shit when you could not spell
I couldn't spell my own last name. How stupid do I sound?
I would have gotten up and walked out if there wasn't a wall.
How stupid did I sound?
It's fucking hilarious.
It's the first time in my life I've not been able to spell my own last name. I think, legitimately. When I was 3, I could spell my own last name.
Well, you've devolved. Anywho.
Yikes. All right, so we're going into the NFL. The Bears get fucking pounded last week by the Eagles. It was an awful game to watch. And Mitchell Trubisky played his worst game as a professional, and his mechanics looked all over the place, sloppy. I think they said it after the game. This is kind of his pet peeve from college. He was bouncing in the pocket, bouncing, and you want to stay steady, keep your shoulders square, steady, all that stuff, whatever.
Well, when you bounce like that in the pocket, when you're not setting your feet, you're essentially throwing off of 1 foot or not having any feet on the ground. I've seen some quarterbacks do that, and it really takes off your velocity, and when your velocity drops, so does your accuracy. So
yeah, and that's not a good formula. I'm not a math whiz. Not a good formula.
Yeah, well, you're not good at math.
I don't do math.
Yep.
We come back to this every week. I don't do math.
You don't?
Corey said it himself this week in a separate group chat. Said, I'm the math guy of Mom's Basement. And it holds true.
Well, there's only 2 guys in Mom's Basement, so if you're not the math guy,
if I'm not the math
I have to be the math
Well, technically
guy.
There's 3 guys in Mom's Basement today because Chris is sitting over there kicking it on the couch playing Call of Duty. So, spoiler alert.
In case anybody doubts, we're actually in a basement.
We are in a basement, yeah. We are in an enclosed space in a basement in a house owned by my mother. So the thing I want to talk about this week is something weird happened with the Bears.
Yeah.
Some possible turmoil in the locker room. A lot of talk going around that players are arguing, screaming at each other, and then comes the release of Trey McBride. Now, McBride was arguing with Josh Bellamy. If you don't know who Josh Bellamy is, just look for the guy on the Bears roster that can't catch, who plays wide receiver, because it's probably Bellamy.
Yeah, and I just looked it up because I know I saw a stat about it. Trey McBride, he's been, nothing overly impressive as far as Bears go at wide receiver, but he did play 78% of the offensive snaps against the Philadelphia Eagles, so he was getting some time on the offense. And Josh Bellamy, we've seen it for years, since even, Jay Cutler trying to throw him passes when the Bears had injuries at wide receiver. Josh Bellamy is not a good football player.
No.
Maybe a good special teams player at times, but he's not a good wide receiver. His hands are god-awful. And I don't understand why, if there's a fight between Trey McBride and Josh Bellamy, that a guy who has shown a little promise on offense gets cut where Josh Bellamy does not.
Now, I think last year I definitely saw at least 2 games, it might have been 3, where Josh Bellamy flat out lost it by himself. Quarterback will put the ball right where it needs to be to set up, whether it be a big first down in the 4th or set up a game-time field goal, game-winning field goal, and he just flat out lost them games because he can't catch. So to me, it doesn't make any sense. And sticking with wide receiver, we're going to talk about this a little bit later too. Why not ask the Browns what they want for Josh Gordon? Honestly,
yeah,
take a waiver.
Well, I wanted to just bring up real quick too before we move on from that is I think I don't know if he's still a safety for the Bears. He hasn't been hurt over in a while, but Harold Jones-Quartey, HJQ, he actually tweeted out about the fight between Bellamy and McBride, and apparently Bellamy was trying to slide into McBride's girls' DMs.
It always comes back to women.
That's how it started. He tweeted that. I don't know if it's still up there. I was going to look real quick, but I think he deleted it.
That's wild.
That is wild. But as far as the Josh Gordon stuff goes, I mean, when Josh Gordon isn't high, he's the best wide receiver in football. I mean, he has great speed, great size, great hands, runs routes really well. He really doesn't have a negative part of his game. It's just he can't stay on the field because he likes weed too much. But it's one of those where I don't know if the Browns are willing to give him up, especially if they think they can lock him up and control him and keep him
not
keep
suspended.
Him in line. Yeah, I mean he's an amazing talent. It would be risky. It's a risk for the Browns that they're willing to take by keeping him, and it's a risk for any team who wants to trade him. Personally, I would have called him by now.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he's clearly your number 1 receiver. It's not even close.
And even if he takes a step back from what he was, he's still a number 1 receiver.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Bears desperately need receivers. Speaking of receivers, they do miss Alshon Jeffrey.
And they're going to be missing him for the next 4 years. They're going to be missing him for the next 4 years.
He was scheduled to become a free agent at the end of this season, but guess what?
I see that.
Philly, oh no, not that. We can talk about that later.
Anywho.
Philly gives him the 4-year extension worth $57 million. He's not going anywhere, and why would he, frankly? Carson Wentz has developed into a very, very good quarterback, top 10 quarterback in the league.
Yep.
He's got like 26, 27 touchdowns, more than that already. I mean, the guy's absolutely insane. They got a good run game with the Jai and Blunt this year, and of course, the undrafted rookie, has shined at times too. So why not? Why leave? The offensive stack.
He's in a good situation as far as that goes. I mean, why would he leave? I didn't doubt he was going to re-sign there. I mean, my hope was that he would reach free agency and the Bears would take a shot at him. Because typically you don't see, especially receivers, you don't see receivers sign before their contract is up.
Yeah.
They like to hit free agency. They want to test it.
Well, he learned his lesson because he did it last year and the market wasn't great for him. But it works out in the end.
He got 1 year last year. But, I mean, I guess, Philly saw enough. Because he's missed a game this year and his performance has been down. We talked about it around Thanksgiving. I think he had like 500 yards receiving or something like that. It wasn't overly impressive.
He had a good game last week.
Yeah, he did. Well,
wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why.
A couple more things on the Bears here on Mom's Basement. About this fighting in the locker room, it just screams one thing to me, and that's that John Fox has 100%
#FireFox.
Totally lost control of the locker room. He's got no pull with these players anymore. No. They don't care about him. It's like Ben McAdoo in New York.
Well, it reminds me, too, not just of Ben McAdoo in New York, but it reminds me of when Mark Trestman was the Bears' head coach. And I think Jay Ratliff was on the team at the time, and he had that outburst at practice where he was, flipping shit and whatnot, and he got kicked out of practice. And Mark Trestman just had completely lost control of the locker room, and that's the same thing with John Fox here. I mean, say what you want about Lovie Smith back in the day, but Lovie Smith did have command of that locker room, and the Bears need a guy who is going to, command the best out of you and command the best out of all 53 guys in there and not have petty fights, take priority over winning. So John Fox is ultimately a failure as a Bears head coach, and he won't be here at the end of the year.
Jim Bob Cooter, John Gruden, Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be any of those guys.
Don't make me so sad.
But unfortunately, it is what it is.
And now this week they're looking towards San Fran.
Yeah, it's a done year. And actually, I don't think you could take the Bears in a game versus San Fran. I mean, the Bears are just like they're a clusterfuck right now, to be perfectly honest.
I want to say the Bears are a 3-point favorite in this game.
But they're at home, correct?
Yes, they are at home tomorrow.
So that's essentially like just a pick 'em at that point
I would take San Fran +3.
Yeah, I think that what am I thinking? That the Bears have never really done well versus their first time seeing a quarterback. I mean, I remember when they played against Colin Kaepernick in his debut, and Colin Kaepernick just absolutely shredded them. I think Brock Osweiler actually shredded them when he started for Denver. So, they don't have much film on Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he has, 4 career starts or something like that.
He's thrown 96 NFL passes, never thrown an interception.
Yeah, so I'm not saying Jimmy Garoppolo is the next coming or anything, but he is something the Bears haven't seen before. And the defense has been on the field so fucking much this year, I don't think it's going to go overly well for them.
Vic Fangio spoke really highly of him because if you remember last year, they did practice against the Patriots in training camp. He said he looks like the real deal NFL quarterback, so Vic Fangio knows what he's got. So hopefully he comes with a good game plan tomorrow, gives the Bears a chance. San Fran is 1-10 compared to the Bears at 3-8, so it's a toilet game. I think tickets.
It really is the toilet bowl.
I think tickets were pretty cheap. You could sit in the 200 level for about $50 for tomorrow's game. So.
Yeah, I think the fans are starting to get pissed of it too, and it's crazy. We look forward to just really quick NFL draft moment for the Bears coming up. I think they have the 6th overall pick right now going into next draft. I'm just getting really scared because I know wide receiver is the Bears' biggest need. And the last time the Bears had a top 10 pick and had wide receiver as the biggest need, they took Kevin White, and
who is officially out for the season because
yes, officially out again because they activated Quentin Dunst. Yeah. So it's just flashback moments. I'm having issues.
From one dumpster fire to the next, the NBA, the Chicago Bulls are 3-18. They haven't won a game since the last time we did a podcast. I think they were 3-10. They've now lost 8 in a row.
I love it.
Here we sit at 3-18, officially the worst record in the NBA.
Ooh, I love it.
It's good and it's painful.
But the only funny thing is, they're going to get better when Levine comes back, but they're going to get worse when Lopez gets traded.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking Lopez is going to get traded. So it's essentially a wash, And they're going to be the worst team in the NBA.
I said it. They're going to have a problem winning 15 games.
Yeah, it's not a bad prediction so far.
I mean, there's just nobody on this team. You have the worst coach in the league. By the way, Fred Hoiberg, known as an offensive coach, an offensive guru at Iowa State when he was there, 2nd lowest scoring offense in the NBA.
I miss Tom Thibodeau so much.
To the Kings, who the Kings score half a point less, or half a point less than the Bulls.
There you go. Hey, math. Hey.
It always comes back to bite me.
No, but the Bulls do have some good young pieces, though, that we could talk about.
Yeah, and some exciting. I mean, Levine and Nikola Mirotic have been assigned to the G League affiliate, the Windy City Bulls. So, if you want to go and see those guys, they're right up in Hoffman Estates. Cheap tickets. I mean, way cheaper. You could get into one of those games probably for $20 just to go see those guys play. I mean, why wouldn't you do it? So that's something fun for any Bulls fans.
Levine better be dropping 40 in those games.
I bet he's going to be taking it easy, coming back, trying to get... I mean, I think somebody said that he almost hit his head on the rim on a breakaway dunk in practice.
Oh, I hate that.
So, take it easy there, Zach. You don't need to be, get a concussion from the metal rim.
At least the legs look fine, though.
Yeah.
The legs look fine.
You can come back from an ACL injury now. It's not the end of the world like people thought it was back in 2006.
Oh, it was for Derrick Rose.
Oh, and I'm going to play some sad music right here, and we're going to reminisce on what once was.
What could have been, yep. All right, I think.
Moment of silence there for Derrick Rose, and of course Reggie Rose.
Okay, anywho, so the young pieces the Bulls have, I want to know what to make of Chris Dunn. And I asked a few guys the other day about Chris Dunn, and, some people are saying this is the best that he can play, and he's probably going to come down from here, and I don't know if I agree.
I don't agree.
I mean, you can't really write a guy... What is he, 2 years into his career?
This is the 2nd year, yeah.
You can't write a guy off so damn fast. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we've seen less out of players before who have become a lot better as time has gone on. I think with minutes, Chris Dunn is a good basketball player. He's an exceptional defender.
Yeah, he's averaging 2 steals a game, and really what we've seen this year from him from the transition Minnesota to Chicago this year in out of Tibbs system where you don't play rookies, I mean, really at all, essentially. So... you've seen his offensive game really take a step forward. I've seen him attacking the basket, doing stuff that we used to see Derrick Rose do with up and under layups.
We're 21 games into this year, so we're about a quarter of the way in, and honestly, this is a huge year of development for him because, he had a taste of the NBA last year, but he didn't have the minutes. Now he's averaging, 27 minutes a game?
Yeah, I believe he's up at 27 minutes a game, yeah.
27 minutes a game. I would like him to get up to 30 to 33. We've talked about this. Play the young guys 30 to 33 minutes a game just to get him the game action, but I'm nitpicking there. But, he's shown something. He's shown that he can, be an offensive threat while being a lockdown defender at the point guard position, in my opinion.
Yeah, and just taking a look back last year, he's already started more games this year than he did all of last year.
Jesus Christ.
He appeared in 78 games. He started 7 last year.
Holy
so
shit.
He's appeared in 17 this year, and he has started 8. His minutes are up from 17 to 27, like we talked about. Points are up from 4 to 12, if we're rounding up here. He's averaging 5 boards and 4 assists a game, compared to 2 and 2 last year. Steals are up. Everything is shining upwards for Chris Dunn, and it's really good to see, because we knew what he was on defense. We knew that already. You needed to see this kind of step forward in his offensive game, and he's shown that thus far.
Yeah, he's averaging 11.6 points per game right now for the Bulls. And, you know, I think coming out of Providence, he was never really known as a big scorer. I mean, I think he averaged, 16 points a game at Providence or whatever. So he wasn't much of a scorer, but, you know, he's a guy that you can get by with as a really good point guard if you have the pieces around him for him to dish to, and he could help guys play off him and whatnot.
And just looking at his shooting percentage last year, he shot 37% from the field.
That's big yikes.
This year he's shooting 43%, and he shot 28% from 3.
Yeah, now he's shooting about 43%.
So this is the kind of projection you want to see out of a young guy like this.
He's taking steps, and I think that's a really good thing for the Bulls' future, because coming into this year, even before Markkanen played too, I'm just like, what does this team have? They have an injured Zach LaVine. They have a Chris Dunn who, admittedly, had no minutes his rookie year, but he didn't show much either in those minutes.
Yeah, he didn't do much to earn minutes.
And then you had the 7th overall pick in Lauri Markkanen, who we've talked about Lauri Markkanen on that. He's a very good player.
I said it. Markkanen's going to be a great player. He's baby Dirk. He's shown that he can do everything. He can attack the basket from the right side, from the left side. He can pop it. He can play defense. He's a great player. I think he's going to develop into something special for the Bulls to pair with a high draft pick.
I think I saw a stat. I'm sorry to cut you off. That he had.
You're sorry is accepted.
He had the most three-point field
made
goals as a rookie through the first 20 games of his career or whatever. He beat out Damian Lillard, I believe, for that honor.
Dame Dollar's EP is out now on iTunes.
Oh,
Shameless plug for Damian Lillard.
I can't believe every time I bring every transition I try to make, you have a rap you have a rap for it or something. I mean, it's just.
I have a Dame Dollar dad hat too.
Okay, that's.
He's on my fantasy team. I got to support him.
All right.
My fantasy team dumpster fire. That is fantasy basketball, because my team is trash.
I sat here for your draft. I don't know how you could be surprised. I don't know how you could be surprised.
I've never done an auction draft before.
Well,
boy, was I bamboozled out of $40.
Yeah, it showed. It showed.
Yeah, it sure as shit showed.
But yeah, Lauri Markkanen, Chris Dunn, and then I'm really excited. I'm actually going to start watching the Bulls more when I see Zach LaVine come back, just because I think it's going to be more of a not must-watch TV, but just something you could see the young pieces gel together before. The season ends in the dumpster fire that it is.
And here we go. We're starting the NBA draft countdown for the Bulls.
Hell
exactly 200 days away is the NBA draft. They better get their scouting reports ready. From what I've seen, the two guys I like the most, Miles Bridges from Michigan State and Marvin Bagley from Duke. Two forwards that look really, really solid on both sides of the ball in college basketball.
Really deep on big men in this upcoming draft,
yes.
Which is pretty good for the Bulls, considering if you think Dunn and LaVine are the backcourt of the future, you got to start taking a look at the front court going forward, because Robin Lopez ain't going to cut it in the future. So
nah, pass on that.
So Marvin Bagley, I've seen a lot of people talk about Marvin Bagley. He's probably the favorite for number one after who got hurt?
Michael Porter Jr.
Porter. I almost said Otto Porter. I was like, that's not right.
Had some back injury. It was something with his spine.
Yeah. So he's probably.
Wave that red flag.
Yeah.
Don't touch that.
That's such a Garpax thing, though, would be to draft him number one overall. That would be such a Garpax thing. Like, oh yeah, we believe he'll come back from the injury. No problem. It'd be like the Bulls version of Kevin White.
All right, Corey, now moving to the hot take of the week. I'm going to go first. We talked about him earlier. Wide receiver of the one and only Cleveland Browns. Josh Gordon's going to go for 8 receptions, 100-plus yards tomorrow, and a touchdown in his return to the NFL, just to spite Roger Goodell for keeping him out of the league for so long.
I don't even know if that's much of a hot take. I mean,
he hasn't played in the NFL since when? Since when? When was his last NFL game?
What was it, like 2014? Something like that?
Yeah, that's a long time.
I don't care, man. That dude is so fucking good. Like, let's see.
I'm looking it up. Our research and development team is looking this up currently.
I'm the math guy. He's research and development.
I guess I became research and development.
When is the last time he's played?
Oh, this is so confusing.
Oh, boy. Wait. Scroll on. So he played in a preseason game in 2016. Because game logs are right here.
Preseason.
Yeah,
Don't give me this ish.
That was 2014.
So a real game, 2014. Week 16 against Carolina.
Oh, boy. Well,
he had 4 for 45.
Josh Gordon is so good, and they plan to play him a lot, so I think he's going to knock off the rust as the game goes on and pick it up.
And then my hot take's going to come true.
What the hell?
What? I just sealed the deal.
Oh, I was like...
That's me sealing
no,
the deal.
No, I got her hot take mixed up with our call-out, and I was like, I thought you were just going to jump straight to your call-out, so I was like...
No, you still have to give your hot take.
No, okay.
We're waiting.
No, I'm sorry. So my hot take is regarding the top international free agent prospect, Shohei Ohtani. I'm thinking that he is... We've gone back and forth on this, whether he's going to sign with the Cubs based on the situation they have, whether he's going to sign with the White Sox based on the fact that he could be the guy in the rebuild.
Meh.
Don't meh. I think he ultimately doesn't sign with any of the top 3 markets, which are New York, Chicago, or LA. First of all, he's not a guy who really cares that much about money, and you could tell that because he's entertaining offers from teams who can only offer him $300,000. He is accepting all these requests from that stupid little questionnaire he made. I think it's weird, but it is what it is. I don't know if it's just he's being a quirky dude or if that's like a culture thing, but regardless, I think, a team like Seattle is a place where he can ultimately end up, but I don't think it's going to be in Chicago, New York, or LA, because I just don't think his own personality, his individual style fits with a big-time market. And he clearly, like I've said, doesn't care about money, because if he cared about money, he would have waited 2 more years and gotten $200+ million on the open market.
Yeah, $250+ million, really.
Yeah, but instead he's just going to settle for maybe $300,000 from a team, which is kind of wild to me.
Moving call out of the week. My call out of the week is going to be the head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide football team.
Roll Tide.
No, don't roll Tide. Nick Saban, I'm calling you out. Ohio State was in the situation that Alabama was in a couple years ago, and Nick Saban...
Flip it.
What?
Alabama's in the situation that Ohio State was in a couple years ago.
Yes, a couple years ago. So Alabama is where Ohio State was a couple years ago. And Nick Saban a couple years ago said about Ohio State, they didn't win their conference. They shouldn't be in the college football playoff. Well, here we are, Nick Saban. Ring the bell.
How the turntables have...
I don't like that. How the tables have turned. Nick Saban sits Alabama.
You've watched The Office. Come on now.
Yeah, I have. I'm actually rewatching it right now.
Sick.
So, yeah, I love Dwight Schrute. Anyways, Alabama is where Ohio State was. Yes,
yeah,
okay, we got that right. And now Nick Saban going on record as Alabama did not play in the SEC title game after getting upset by Auburn last week. So Nick Saban says that he thinks Alabama deserves to be in the college football playoff because of the resume, but Alabama has not beaten anybody this year. They played a cookie cake schedule.
And we're going to talk about the NCAA playoff coming up here, but I wouldn't be. I don't want. I should phrase this properly. Logically, Alabama should not be in it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of those situations where it's Alabama.
They're picking
it's
this
Bama.
tomorrow. Yeah,
it's Bama. Bama should be in it because Bama is an entertaining football team or whatever.
You want entertaining? Put Florida Atlantic and let Lane Kiffin's offense go wild.
Oh yeah, I hate that. Anyhow, my call out of the week before we move on to college football crap is going to be, Boston Red Sox fans and the Boston Red Sox in general who think that the White Sox should trade Jose Abreu straight up for Jackie Bradley Jr. What are you doing?
Go ahead, I'm dancing.
I hate it. Jackie Bradley Jr. has had 3 good months in his baseball career where he had like a 30-game hitting streak back in 2016, early 2016, which parlayed him into an all-star appearance. But besides being a really good defender in center, he's not... It just doesn't make sense. The White Sox are rebuilding. He's 27 years old. He has 1 more year of control than Abreu. The White Sox are loaded with outfield prospects down on the farm. I mean, what does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? Their starting outfield in the future, that's projected, is all within the top 45 prospects of MLBpipeline.com. And I don't see the need for a center fielder. I hate what you're doing right now. It's really distracting. I don't see the need for a Jackie Bradley Jr., especially given what Jose Abreu's value is. Jose Abreu is a better player than Jackie Bradley Jr. as far as offensively goes. And I know they devalue the first base / DH position, but Jose Abreu is a monster on offense. And, not that it's the most important thing, but he does serve as a tutor for Yohan Moncada and eventually Luis Robert, who will come up in a couple of years. So I think his value is to be extended for the White Sox. I think he needs to be extended unless you're blown away. Like if the Red Sox are offering Rafael Devers or Andrew Benintendi, who Rick Hahn reportedly asked for one of the 2 of them, which Rick Hahn has some nuts. I mean, honest to God, you just balls to the wall.
The set of brass balls on that man.
That man, he goes to Dave Dombrowski and says, yeah, Jackie Bradley Jr. isn't enough. You need to give me one of Rafael Devers who was the number 4 prospect in all of baseball. His prospect clock has expired, but still a stud third baseman. And then Andrew Benintendi, who would be a stud left or center fielder for the White Sox. Rick Hahn doesn't care. Rick Hahn doesn't care about people making fun of him for asking for the world because he's gotten it in multiple trades. He doesn't care. So I don't think Rick Hahn would trade Jose Abreu for Jackie Bradley Jr., but I don't think the Red Sox will meet that price, and I think that ultimately Abreu stays in Chicago and gets extended.
I agree. Now, moving back to college football. We talked a little bit about the playoff in Alabama. Now, we're going to give basically what we think is going to happen. It's not that difficult, honestly. 2 scenarios here. If Clemson and Ohio State win, both games underway right now.
Scores haven't changed. Clemson is beating Miami 21-0 right now in the third quarter. And Ohio State is beating Wisconsin 21-10 in the third quarter.
So if they win, if these scores hold true,
yep,
it'll be Clemson who would win the ACC, Oklahoma who won the Big 12, Georgia who won the SEC, and Ohio State who wins the Big 10. That's my opinion. I could Bama sneak in over Ohio State? Sure. I don't think it's possible.
I think it's possible because
I think it's possible. I shouldn't say I just wouldn't do it myself.
I think it's just because I talked about like 2 minutes ago. It's just that Bama is Bama. They're the powerhouse in college football, and I could see it happening. I don't want it to happen, and I don't think it can happen, but I don't think you can write it off.
Now, if by some chance both these teams blow these leads, I think it would hold as Wisconsin, Oklahoma, Georgia, and then Miami, who would have knocked off the number 1 team in the nation. They would have to jump from 7 to at least 4 to get into the playoff.
Oh yeah, and I don't see how you couldn't make an argument for them jumping up to at least 4.
Yeah.
It's a huge, not a huge upset, but it is like an upset.
They would have that win. They beat Notre Dame this year handily, who was ranked in the top 10. So just wins, and Alabama doesn't have that key win, and everybody is going to have a good win. Oklahoma beat a very good TCU team today. They played Oklahoma State earlier, who's a tough team to play. So every team is going to have these wins, and Alabama just doesn't have it, period. If you look at the resume, you could see who's better. And Alabama might have the best talent, they might have the best coach, but they don't have the best win.
Basically, and it really is just... It's so interesting with college football every year because you have all these one-loss teams competing against each other.
I want to be a fly on the wall in this committee.
I do too. And, ultimately, when they talked about going to this 4-team system, I want it to be an 8-team system.
Make it an 8, yes, please.
Make it an 8-team system because this would be, if you look down this list, Clemson, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Miami, Ohio State, who doesn't want to see those 8 teams go up against each other?
Yeah.
That's primetime great football.
You're going to get an Auburn-Alabama rematch.
Every single week, or every single week you're going to have like a good primetime football game.
Yeah.
One team or both teams, it's going to be right down to the wire with every game. It would be super exciting. But regardless, I agree with your top 4. Because
you know what else would be involved in that? A lot of money.
Oh my God, yeah. I don't know why they just don't decide to do this. I really don't. I don't know if you would have to abolish the conference championship games or what the case may be, just to give you that extra week.
Yeah.
Because that's where the extra week would come from.
Or just take a cookie game out of the first week of the season. Play conference games a week earlier, and then where week 12 would be
Alabama doesn't have to play like Appalachian State or something.
Yeah, or Alabama State.
Yeah,
Jesus
really, who gives
Christ,
a fuck?
play some teams.
Week 1 of college football, do I really need to watch Alabama blow out a team 52-3?
I don't think scores 89-0.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. Anyway, that is college football, and now we're going to talk a little bit of baseball. Basically, you can't talk anything until these 2 things have happened. Giancarlo Stanton, or as I call him, Mike Stanton, has been traded. And Shohei Ohtani has been signed by somebody. That's what's going to set the entire market. Personally, I think Stanton's going to be traded in the next few days.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's not crazy, but it's just weird how long it's been taking for this to happen. I thought it would have been done by Thanksgiving because everybody knows what the situation is. You have a stud outfielder who is getting like $295 million over the next 10 years.
With an opt-out after 2020, a full no-trade clause.
Yeah, all that good stuff. I don't know if that's the richest contract in baseball, unless he thinks he can get more. I don't know as far as that opt-out goes. But regardless, the only complexity is these teams thinking how much money we could take on and how much do we need the Marlins to pay and what are we willing to give up to get him, given the fact that we're bringing on all this money. So you can afford to not give up great prospects for him if you're taking on the money.
Yeah.
But we have the identified teams. It's the Dodgers, it's the Cardinals, it's the Giants. I think I saw maybe it was John Heyman who tweeted today that the industry feels right now, it would be surprising if he ended up with the Cardinals.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want it to happen because, Cubs. But
I still think they're a better team than the Cardinals if he gets traded there.
Oh, yeah, but we talked about, just briefly in passing, if Jose Abreu and Giancarlo Stanton were both traded to the Cardinals, how it changes the complexity of that division. But anyhow, I still think he ultimately ends up as a Giant, I think he might hold it up if he thinks that the Giants can't, be a winner or whatever the case may be. Because, no matter where he goes, he's getting paid.
Yeah.
I don't think that matters, as far as, that's not a factor into it. But, if L.A. is offering him a shot to come, he makes L.A. infinitely better.
I don't understand how L.A. can even make it happen.
I don't either.
They're already in the luxury tax. They already have the highest payroll in baseball.
Unless they're giving up, top prospects to get him, and Miami's eating that money. I don't know.
That's a long shot to me for them.
For
LA to have it. I think he's going to be a Giant probably by Wednesday. I think it's going to be done. So hopefully by the next time we're talking, that has come true. He's out on the West Coast with San Fran as they look to retool and go at another NL West division title.
Maybe.
In probably what's looking like the toughest division, definitely in the National League.
Definitely. You have 3 playoff teams in that division.
Probably in all of baseball, toughest division.
Easily.
So we talked about Shohei Ohtani a little bit earlier. Now we had a question about him.
Yeah, we do, and it's more directed at you. And I'm gonna keep you on the rails here with it.
Keep me on the rails.
This is from my guy Owen on Twitter here. He says, I have an intriguing question. Why should Shohei Ohtani choose the Cubs over the White Sox when each can offer $300K and the White Sox have incentives such as an excellent track record with pitching, developing pitchers.
Yeah.
The DH, which is, crucial because it's an American League team, and they are an up-and-coming club, and they're not as, nationally publicized as the Cubs are.
Yeah.
Quite simply, why is Buzz in Chicago directed north rather than south? And then he has this caveat, also, Theo Epstein is not an answer.
He knew what I was going to say, huh?
Yeah. Well, he knows what every Cubs fan says.
No, I think it has to do with a lot. And if you could read back through what he says, because
sure, sorry.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
So just go piece by piece.
So key factors: why should Ohtani choose the Cubs over the Sox? Each team can offer the same amount of money.
Money, yeah. We're throwing money out the door.
Yeah.
Money's gone. Okay.
Because it's even on both sides. The White Sox have an excellent record with developing pitching, and they are an American League team with the DH.
Okay, stop there. Jim Hickey developed a ton of pitching talent in Tampa Bay, a la Chris Archer, Odorizzi, David Price, you name them, Alex Cobb. So the guy knows how to develop pitching, period. I think both teams have good pitching coaches.
I think both do, because, the White Sox took a guy like Jose Quintana, who was a nobody cast off from the Yankees, and turned him into, the guy they traded for Eloy and Dylan Cease.
The DH, you can't really argue. They have a DH. They have a DH. I think the Cubs have spots to play. I don't
think so. See, I don't think so, because where are you going to play him? Because... First of all, I'm
saying you can't argue the DH in the Cubs' favor. I'm saying you can't.
I think that's an edge the White Sox obviously have, because they have the DH. The Cubs have $180-something million in right field. If you play Shohei Ohtani in right field, all of Jason Hayward's value is done. He's valuable as the best right fielder.
Already doesn't have value.
Okay, but what you're trying to salvage from him is defense. He's a Gold Glove winning right fielder.
I'm not even saying put him in right. I'm saying play him in left.
Okay, and then what are you doing with Kyle Schwarber?
What did Kyle Schwarber do for a lot of the season this year? He sat on the bench.
Nothing.
I mean,
nothing. But he's essentially Theo Epstein's love child.
Sure. And where was he? He was in AAA. Tell me how much he loves him now. I mean, come on. They've shown.
Now, all fairness to Kyle Schwarber, he did turn it on with the bat.
Yeah, no, he did, and I think he's going to be fine. I just think
what was his OPS ended up being
for a guy that they've proven that they will sit because the defense lacks, and if Ohtani can show anything with the glove, and we obviously, if a lot of people think the bat is going to play, then there's no reason he wouldn't be in left field over Kyle Schwarber. Now, as far as the DH goes, that's an obvious advantage to American League teams because the Cubs simply cannot offer something like that.
I don't know why I thought it was higher. I thought Kyle Schwarber had a...
He was better. It's not like he was great.
Oh, maybe... Okay, so just to clear my mind, because it was driving me insane. I thought I saw that Kyle Schwarber had an OPS of over 900, but that's probably since he came up from
so it's not going to show. You'd have to dive deep to get those numbers.
Yeah, so his OPS was 782 this year. I was just curious because that's how I like to evaluate hitters for the most part. But anywho, so if you think Kyle Schwarber is that guy from the second half, why would you sit him next year?
Well, if you think Ohtani can hit 30 home runs a year, why not?
because
Schwarber can do that, but he's still going to strike out more. He's not going to hit for as high of an average. We were looking at it before.
But see, we've talked about this. Ohtani is going to make his money in this league. We both think this
I
based
agree.
on his pitching.
I don't even want him
his
batting.
pitching.
I don't even want. That's 4 more days he could possibly get hurt.
Okay,
and I think his value
that's
is
the
a
thing.
pitcher.
That's the thing right there. If you say, "I don't want him to hit," you're automatically off his list.
I understand, and that's why I'm not saying that if I'm anybody running a team. I am not telling him.
So, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to sign him and then just lie to him?
I'm not going to lie. If he wants to hit, he can hit. Like, but I don't want him to hit deep down. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Deep down, I was like, I don't really want to do this, but I have to do it to get the deal done.
You have it one of two ways here. You sign Ohtani, which is cool, but then you're giving up on Kyle Schwarber. You're giving up on Schwarber because he's going to play, 1 or 2 out of every 5 days?
Who says Ohtani's going to play left field 4 days out of the week?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he pitches and then maybe hits like 2 days, and then he's hitting, and then
I say 2 days
like 2
max.
days.
Max.
And then you got Schwarber playing like 2 days.
That's fine. What if you're facing lefties? We're not playing Schwarber against lefties anyway. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. I'm being serious right now.
I'm just funny because it's really true. It's just really true.
If he's a better option, he's a better option flat out. So I think there's spots for him to play, especially in left field. What was the next thing?
The next thing, White Sox. I mean, not to say that the Cubs are like, they're not like a down in the dumps team or anything, but the White Sox are an up and coming team where where essentially Shohei Ohtani could be the guy if he wants to be the guy. I mean,
Pause.
Hold on. I'm just going to give a caveat there.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Yohan Moncada is slated to be the face of this franchise going forward, but if Shohei Ohtani comes to the South Side, he is more of a big name than a guy like Chris Bryant, or he's more of a big name to the White Sox than he would be for a team that has Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo. I'm gonna put
the Spanish Cubs.
I was gonna start doing it. Wilson Contreras and Albert Almora, who is a really. I hate that the Cubs don't play Albert Almora as much.
They freaking better this year.
It triggered the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Going down, seeing it in the playoffs. But you have all these big names. You have Addison Russell, Javier Baez, who people suck his dick. I don't know why, but Javier Baez gets his dick sucked. By the way, happy belated birthday, Javier Baez. Saw the Cubs tweeted that. Yeah, whatever. But basically, the Cubs have this just like big name lineup, and they get all this national media attention. And he's a guy who doesn't like that. Why would he go there?
I'm trying to remember how he started. Okay. Well, here's the thing between the Cubs.
Just to sum up, he would be a big name on the South Side, not as big of a name on the North Side.
Yeah. Up and coming White Sox team. There's a lot of unknown. There's a ton of unknown.
I want you to tread this ground very carefully. I want you to tread this ground very carefully because I had to hear it from you from like 2012 to 2015 about the Cubs farm.
And there was no sure thing there.
I will fire this shit up right now and roast the shit out of it.
I'm just saying, what if Ohtani signs with the White Sox and half their prospects are mediocre and then half are like decent, like a little bit better.
Mediocre and decent.
Yeah, I know. I realize that. I meant to say good. I meant to say good. So like some are here mediocre, and some are good. And
do you realize the depth of that farm?
I understand. No,
if
I'm just
6
saying.
of those guys live up to their ceilings, that's 6 superstars.
Sure. And guess what? There's a team just right across the town there. Three straight NLCS appearances and a World Series title.
Okay, but
they're
again,
a sure thing.
He would be the guy. He would be. Legitimately. Look at
he can profile as the ace on the North Side. The ace
over Sile.
Over Sile Hendricks.
Oh, I'm sure that's ripping you apart the side right now.
He could be the ace of the 2016 World Champs.
But you know what he could be for the White Sox? He could be the ace, and he could be the middle of the order bat for the Chicago White Sox.
This year when they win 70 games, and next year when they win 80.
They're winning more than 70 games this year.
Yeah, we'll see.
I've already predicted 500.
I understand.
It's happening.
I understand.
So
it's set in stone.
If I predicted, it's happening. But you can see my side of it.
No,
right?
I'm giving you my points. That's what we're doing.
And I think that he wants to be the big name. He wants to be the big guy, the centerpiece of everything. And he has a shot to do that on the South Side where he doesn't...
Listen.
Is he going to overtake Chris Bryant in terms of stardom?
If you don't think the front office...
Well, let me ask my question. Is he going to overtake Chris Bryant in terms of stardom?
I am answering your question.
Say yes or no?
I am answering your question.
It's a yes.
With a point.
It's a yes or no question.
You're wrong. If you don't think the front office is going to market this, like they sign Ohtani, all right, the whole front office, they're going to market him to everybody. Period. They're going to make him big.
You act like he can't do that on the South Side either.
Sure, I mean, I'm sure he could try. Not as many fans going to those games, though.
That doesn't.
I'm just taking a shot at you right now.
Yeah, I know you are because you're a cunt. But anywho, oh god, that's the first time I said cunt on this show.
That's getting beeped.
Oh, is it really? Don't beep
Come on.
Okay, no. So basically, we can move.
And what's the last part of this?
We can move on from this. So essentially, why is... Well, we kind of already...
I probably already answered it in my whole
Yeah,
thing.
you really did. I mean, you did it without saying Theo, because that's a fucking stupid answer.
I don't have to say Theo. I got a lot of points.
Not a lot of good points, but points.
I think they're pretty good points.
I think my points are better than your points.
Well, that's because you're you and I'm me.
Exactly. Different standards.
We do have different standards on a lot of things.
Oh, wait. Do I have to bring up what I just saw pop up there or no?
Nope.
Okay, there we go.
We can go without that one.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so, Owen, thank you for the question.
Yeah, thanks, Owen. If you got any more, if I didn't answer your question fully, you can hit me up on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or you can just wait till our next episode.
Yeah, ultimately, though, I honestly do feel the White Sox are a better fit for Ohtani just as we're going forward because I think I think an American League team in general is better than an NL team.
I think that
because
obviously is obvious.
he can DH. I mean, it's going to happen. I think ultimately it's going to be an American League team. I don't want to count the White Sox out of it. You know, if the White Sox had money, they would be right in it. But unfortunately, they don't because of Luis Robert.
All right, really quick.
But it is what it is.
One more thing. Why the hell did the Yankees hire Aaron Boone to be their manager?
I don't like Aaron Boone.
No! I mean, come on! The guy hasn't coached a game in his life. Oh, well, he was an ESPN analyst for 8 years. Well, Jess Mendoza's an ESPN analyst, and what does she know about baseball?
Jeez.
I'm just saying.
You're going with it.
Now there's a difference.
I would have liked Carlos Beltran as their manager. I would have liked it. I think... I don't know. It feels like Carlos Beltran on a very different scale is like the David Ross for those... for the Cubs, like Carlos Beltran was for the Yankees, because when he was on the Yankees, he was around the young guys, you know. People said that he had an influence on them, sort of like David Ross did for some reason on the Cubs. I would have liked that signing more than Aaron Boone.
And people keep saying, I've seen on Twitter, people keep saying Aaron Boone's a Yankee guy. He played for the Yankees for a year. And they only know him because he hit the home run.
What year was that, 2003?
2003.
2003, when he hit Game 7 against the Red Sox in the ALCS?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all he did
it.
for you Yankees.
He's like essentially, no, crazy. If he turns out to suck, he would be the equivalent of John Paxson for the Bulls. Because if John Paxson doesn't hit that shot in the 90s in the NBA Finals...
He doesn't have a job.
He doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
That shot got him 15 years on a job.
Where can I get something like that? What do I got to do to get that kind of job
They
security?
literally stepped in shit, and they were just like, all right, we're going to roll with it. We're going to roll with it, because...
We could probably squeeze 20 out of this. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I think I don't think it's like a massive mistake, because I think the Yankees are going to be sort of like how the Cubs were, where it doesn't really matter who manages the team because there's just so much.
Yeah, but at least the Cubs hired a guy who's managed anywhere before.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I do think that
at least Alex Cora, who the Red Sox hired, was a bench coach and he won a World Series and learned from AJ Hinch.
Again, I don't like the signing at all, but I think the Yankees have the talent to overcome it. I do think it'll cost them come playoff time, but they'll at least get to the playoffs.
You better hope it costs them come playoff time, because they're going to be there for a while.
Oh, yeah, trust me. I'm aware the White Sox and Yankees are going to be going at it for quite a few years.
All right, that's all we got for today's episode of Mom's Basement. Thank you so much for tuning in, watching, listening, whatever it may be, on iTunes and YouTube. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube and, of course, on iTunes as well. And make sure you give that 5-star review, because we're so pretty.
I'm not. I'm tired.
Corey's tired and his hair is not looking great today.
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing a hood.
Neither is mine, but we're just rolling with it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you guys on the next episode of Mom's Basement.